Hello there, welcome to another video. Today I would like to do a book review for you guys of a book I recently found. We will be talking about this book that I got recently called Defying Jihad. I think it's, sorry if I'm butchering that name, I do not speak that language, but it's Defying the Jihad by Esther Ahmad with Craig Borlace. This is what it looks like. Now, this book I bought at Barnes & Noble for $16.99. It is paperback. I have not seen a hardcover of this book. Maybe you can find it. It's about 287 pages long. It has a question and answer with the author in the back right here, as you can see. And then there are some also discussion questions if you want to read this with a group right there. The noise that you hear are my kids. This book has a copyright year of 2019, so it's very, very new. And it's by Tyndale House. So let's talk about it. This is a memoir. This is a true story written by Esther. Her original name was Zakira, Zakhira, and then she changed her name to Esther because that's the name that God gave her. But let's go back a little bit and tell you the full story. So this is a true story of a woman named Zakhira, or Esther later on, written by her. She grew up Muslim. She grew up in Pakistan as a Muslim. She says that her father wasn't a very devout Muslim himself, but her mom surely was a very devout Muslim, and the people that were around her they went to prayers, they did Ramadan, they did all of the things that they, had to do to be a faithful Muslim, faithful in their religion. But one of the things that changed, she says that when she was young, is that her father began to change. He started to get to know these people that belonged to a militant extremist group of Muslims, and he began to change. He began to grow a beard, he changed the way he dressed, and he became very violent towards his wife. And she says that that's when things began to change, and they started to gather in their homes as well for like these services type of things in their homes. And then they would do like separate, because in Islam everything needs to be separate, women and men, as far as my knowledge goes. So the men were on one side, the women were on the other side, but she would hear all of the lessons and everything they had to do. So she always went to school. She was supposed to be married at a very young age over there, because they think that what's the point of women going to school if they're just going to wash dishes and clean the house and things like that and take care of their husbands. So, but she managed to continue going to school. She grew up with not a lot of love from her father and a lot of attention and love from her mother. And she continued to go to school. And then one day, as she started listening to, the teachings of the people that were teaching, that would go to her house every Friday, I believe it was, she started to change. She wanted to pray more. She wanted to understand the Quran more. She wanted to help other people in need more, all to secure a place in heaven, because apparently the way she was taught in Islam is that the more you do, the more chances you will have that Allah will not be mad at you, and you will be able to avoid judgment. And so she wanted to secure a place in heaven for herself and for her family, for her parents. And so she increased her prayer life. She increased the amount of reading of the Quran that she did, and she also increased the amount of help that she did, but she always felt empty. And then one time she had a dream, and the Jesus came and rescued her and changed and called her by Esther instead of her real name. And I'm not going to tell you the whole story, but then eventually she began to meet people. Her heart was just not content. She was getting scared. Eventually she because she wanted to get a place in heaven, she volunteered to be a part of this jihad, which apparently is like a sacrifice for Allah. And if you do that, you automatically have a place in heaven for you, for your family, and you won't have to face judgment. And so she wanted that, and she volunteered for jihad, which was basically killing Christians and Jews that they were against. Because of that as well, she was able to stay in school, but of course she was going to a school that taught her very militant, extremist views, with a madrasa that was there, and she was just taught all of these things. And it wasn't until she met actually a Muslim man that told her that a lot of the answers that she was looking for was actually in the Bible. And so that intrigued her. She went after a Bible, and that's really where her story begins, where she starts to get persecuted because she now is really digging deep into the Quran. They weren't taught to read the Quran for themselves. They would read here and there, but not fully. And so she was really starting to read herself fully, and she saw a lot of inconsistencies in the Quran. And when she got her hands in a Bible, she was able to see that it was very consistent and answer a lot of her questions. And so she actually becomes a Christian, and going from a person that was ready to kill other Christians and Jews and even herself in the name of her religion, in the name of securing a place in heaven, in the name of Allah, she went to be an infidel herself. She became the one persecuted. Her father tried to kill her many times, and she had to flee the country. Now she lives here in the United States with her family. She still doesn't talk to her family. But this is such a powerful, powerful story. I had never heard of her. At the end of this, to see how she sees Christianity, how she sees the Bible, how she sees Jesus himself is amazing, because as a Christian myself, I take it for granted sometimes. I'm not gonna lie, do take it for granted. I have many copies of the Bible, and here in the United States, it's you get comments here and there, and you get people saying stuff, but it's not even close to persecution that she and many other Christians go through every day, being spit on. They can't work. They are killed. They are persecuted. Even their children are persecuted because of their faith. And so it's not even close. And so just to see, everything that she went through, and her love, and just when she first received the Bible, when she started reading the Bible, she couldn't get enough of it. It was just such an eye-opener for me to be able to see that. And I'm honestly so honored to have read this book. I really, really am. Her faith, her love for Christ, her discipline, and just her obedience to Christ and putting him first, even though they didn't have food to eat or a place to live, and people were even spitting on her kid's face, and everything, and trials that she had to go through, like literal trials, and she was going to be killed anyways, and still God was with her throughout that. And it was just so refreshing, such a faith awakener for me. And I highly recommend, if you're you don't feel like going to church a lot, or your faith is just not there, if you're Muslim yourself, maybe you can understand even more of the references told here. I recommend for anyone you know, Christians, Muslims, Jews, everybody alike, that reading this book. I really, really do. Grab yourself a copy, Defying Jihad. I really hope I can meet her someday and just hug her and thank her for such an example that her and her family have been to my life, and such an awakener to my own life. So there you go, guys. May God bless you, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.